Hi guys. Sorry about that. Having some, I don't know what issues. Okay. Yeah, all good. Okay, hey guys. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a tech issue, I guess. I'm not sure. Hope everyone's doing well. And is having a nice Sunday. It is like 89 degrees here in Los Angeles. It's like summer.
Southern California.
It is wonderful. Hopefully it's nice wherever you are as well. But it's good to see you guys again. Oh, is it cold and sunny day in New York? Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. At least it's sunny, I guess. That's always a plus. Could be cold and dreary. How's everybody's week so far? Or how was everybody's week, rather, because we're starting a new one now, right? Okay. Hi, Madison. Oh. Oh no, that's horrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. That you got all that stuff stolen. Wow. Your Gmail and Discord. Jeez, that's never fun. That's such a pain in the ass to have to fix when that happens. We did that last night. We did a cleaning marathon last night, Sarah, because we had friends over because we went to a rave. We went to an underground, straight up downtown LA warehouse rave, and it was phenomenal. It was so much fun. I haven't stopped smiling since. I feel 10 years younger. I danced 4 hours straight, nonstop. I'm not sore. I like jumped out of bed this morning, smile on my face. I was like, that was the medicine I needed. Okay, here's Abammon's gonna finally join us here.
I am for one very sore.
It was very sore. It was like hard techno, like really hard. Like my whole body was like, shaking from all of the sound. Like it was literally shaking the hairs on my arms, like raising them up. It was so loud and amazing. Oh my God, it was great. And I wore my old Chanel sunglasses from 2000s. I still have them and I wore them like a total weirdo. But it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Like I feel like $1 million today.
Yes, well, okay. Sorry guys, I was a little late today. I had to make a sigil for you guys because Dr. Stone and I we do a ritual and we talk to the spirits and the gods to get kind of like the message for every week. I think that's like one of the cool things about being an occultist and running an occult service is that we have occult methods to get information that needs to get spread amongst the community. I think, we have that over the preachers, Yeah. I guess they have the Holy Spirit. I don't know how they talk to that. But yeah, so we ended up getting handed down a ton of stuff. It was such a glowing experience.
No. Let's talk about it. You got it.
I did.
He channeled this time.
Yeah.
And I saw it happening and I was like, ooh, okay, cool. And let that happen.
The roles were reversed 100%. I did the ritual. I conjured everything. And then normally I sit there with my grimoire and I'm ready to like write down what she's saying and like what's coming through her. And
I saw it by you and then
it overtook me, and then I started channeling and auto writing and that kind of stuff. And it was a very glowing experience though, because what came down was when we started this, when we all first came together as a community on a live stream, it was like, hey, we're going to do like this little Sunday service, set ourselves up for magical success. We started on initiation season, like right before the liminal season. I think our second Sunday service was the dismemberment of Osiris. And so we've spent the past since then going through the winter, which is classically in mystery schools, that is the initiation season, right? At least when you're talking about the mysteries of resurrection and rebirth and that kind of stuff. And so we are quickly approaching the spring equinox, and we did our ritual on Friday. We worked with Venus and her spirits and her angels, and it was things are looking up for everybody. I'm so excited. It is such a positive, glowing experience.
Yeah.
And so you can see the altar today. We're busting out the plants, getting everything set up for a season of growth for the springtime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The grass. We gotta put that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and also the good thing is that you felt what it feels like afterwards. You got that feeling.
Yeah.
So like now you understand. Like it's always fun for me when somebody else experiences it, so they know what I mean by it affecting you physically.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just like, oh, I talked to something and then I'm just all fine. It's like there is some impact on your physical being, right? So yeah, but I was so excited for you when that happened. Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
No, it was really good. And so I was given in it a sigil that we're going to go over a little bit. Anybody who's a member of the church, it's uploaded to your dashboard. I just finished uploading it, but it's why we're a little late this morning because I was trying to put the sigil together, and then I had to get all the tech and get dressed and that kind of stuff. So
And
I
you're
apologize.
sore from last night.
Yes, and then last night I went to a rave against
It was so fun.
It was fun. I love it. I love that music.
Oh my God, it was so fun. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm glad to be with you guys all today. For those of you, there's a lot of stuff that's moving forward. There were some bugs with our websites like College of Magicians and also with Live Grimoire. People have been feeding me the bugs, and I've been slowly fixing them. That is a one-man operation at this point. I'd like to get to a place where the nonprofit can hire people to help me out with that. However, if you are having issues with any of the websites, getting into your account or getting any of the information, feel free to let me know. It's not a bother at all. I'm just trying to hoist up this infrastructure so we all have an easy way to communicate and an easy way to work together, an easy way to congregate and push forward with this. Because what we talked about last week, we were talking about, being the light, and what a silly platitude, right? What a silly little ambiguous, just be the light. Right. But it is that is a very actionable thing, and I'm going to sound like an early 2000s backpack rapper, but change starts with you. All right.
It does.
Real change starts with you. Starts with the world that we build, and we are getting ready for spring equinox. People in Temple Kht have been applying for the initiation cycle that's going to start on spring equinox. We have a few events coming up. I think on Tuesday night is going to be full moon, and we are going to be doing a jinn conjuration. The mansion that it's going to be in that night is the 7th. It's going to be at 11 p.m.
Pacific time.
Pacific time, yeah. So some of you guys are going to have to stay up late, or if you're across the pond, it's going to be early in the morning. Mm-hmm. However, we're going to be conjuring a jinn. Any questions, information you want to get from the jinn, it is a jinn of the moon. But there's an eclipse, a full moon that night, so that's why we're doing it. On the 19th of March, I think that's the spring equinox. No, that's the new moon. So on the 19th of March, people who are indoctrinating into Temple Kht, there's a ritual in your dashboard done by Dr. Anna Stone. We had a member of Temple Kht already performed it and reported very glowing experiences. So just make sure you perform that ritual. And then 19th, we're going to do like a swearing in kind of ceremony. Then you'll get your membership card, and I'm making these talismans. All you'll have to do is pay shipping to get that talisman, and that talisman is basically going to be packed with all the energy of your workings while you are operating in Temple Kht, right? Every time you come together on a Sunday, every time you come to one of these ceremonies, these initiations or whatever it is, that talisman is going to be kind of the grounding focal point, and that is for members of Temple Kht that get indoctrinated through the indoctrination ritual. And it's a very nice, beautiful indoctrination ritual. It's ambiguous enough to work with anybody's personal practice. You know, you have a God the Father, you have a goddess, you have, you know, the authority of the self and the magician. Dr. Anna Stone modeled it after the indoctrination ceremonies of the orders and lodges that she is a part of. So there's the Rosicrucians, Builders of the Adytum, and Eastern Star, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that is, you know, if you're performing it, just go ahead, do the ritual. All the instructions are in your dashboard. And then on March 19th, the new moon, we're going to swear in our first ones. And then March 20th is the beginning of the initiation cycle. And so the people that have applied for the initiation cycle and get accepted into the initiation cycle will be working with me personally once a month on the full moons. We are going to do live ritual together, and I'm going to walk a group of initiates through the initiation of Isis and Osiris. There's an initiation I have walked many people through before. I have walked groups through before. It's definitely within my wheelhouse. And that usually takes a while. It usually takes until November. So it's going to be a long thing. But it is a real authentic mystery initiation, and it works. It's life-changing, and it definitely...
I've seen it.
Yes. So...
Seen it happen. And to join the temple, it's free.
Yeah. Joining the temple and doing all that kind of stuff is free. I think the only thing that we have paid right now is the memberships for the YouTube channel, and that just kind of gives you access to the lecture series for the theological seminary that we're developing. So if you want to see those videos as they're getting produced, live time, you're getting a sneak peek into the theological seminary. The lectures are pretty intense, deep dives, but that's what the paid memberships for the channel are. And then once the theological seminary goes live, we're doing the first 8 weeks is completely free just to test the waters. And so you'll get like a certificate at the end of those 8 weeks too that say that, you know, you've gone through it and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's like very rigorous. It's academically rigorous. It's not fluffy or easy. I'll be honest, it's not.
Yeah, I don't want to do something easy. Our goal is to create wizards and witches like the ones of old, like real Renaissance people,
like
not
learned people.
Yeah,
you know,
like
people
learned,
that study and take it serious.
Yeah, people like the great people in history, right? The great people of our tradition. That's what the theological seminary is trying to create, and so we're modeling the theological seminary off of the institutions of old, and we're working with primary sources. So that way, people that do engage in the theological seminary, they're going to walk away, hopefully, as a Renaissance person, as a master wizard, and not just an occultist that, you know, knows the Hermetic Kabbalah or whatever it is. We're aiming for a little bit higher.
Yes, Sarah, you can. It's always like, you know, it's when we're talking about our clean space. So Sarah's asking, like, can she still do meditation when her place is a wreck? She's planning on cleaning later. Yes, you can. It's just for, you know, what ideally, like, as you go forward, it's best to have things in order because chaos creates chaos, right? So that's just a thing that's just, you know, it's just a fact of life.
It's like mental health.
Yeah, it's just a
basic mental health.
Yeah, it's hygiene. It's like spatial hygiene, right? So yeah, if you're planning on doing it, that's fine. Don't let that take you out of it. It's just that's more for people that are just not caring about it, you know, at all. Like we cleaned last night like crazy. I mean, I was, you know, but that's because we had people coming over. If we didn't, we probably wouldn't have done it. So, yeah.
When you mention working with jinn, what do you both think of the Goetia? So I actually have experience with the Goetia. That was the first occult system that was working. I'm not a big fan of demon summoning, and I don't think it's a good idea, especially for people in the beginning. I've seen it go sideways for so many people.
All of them.
Yeah. Basically everybody. I could count on one hand demon summoners that I know that are actually succeeding and are well-rounded and emotionally adjusted. It always blows up in people's faces. However,
and they hang out with you.
Yeah,
they stay around you, and then they can be visible to other people, and that's not fun.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like regular classical Goetia and modern demonolatry, right? And so modern demonolatry is where you worship the demons and you make friends with the demons, whereas classically Goetia was about commanding and exacting your authority over the demons. It was kind of an inverted exorcism, right? That in itself is incredibly dangerous because obviously you're not making friends with demons if you're binding them and threatening them, that kind of stuff. However, in modernity, people have kind of taken this idea that you can make friends with them or you can worship them as gods, and this is especially dangerous because this is when this is when it destroys people's lives. I've watched people end up in prison. I've watched people end up with FBI investigations, hurting other people, and it works out for the first 1 or 2 years, and it's really crazy because demons are incredibly effective. It's an incredibly easy way to do magic, and it's not that hard to figure out how to do those rituals. It's all over the place.
It's the low-hanging fruit of magic.
And it works immediately. And so for the first 1 or 2 years, it's incredible because the magic is working in a big way. However, the way that the magic worked is very short-term. It is not long-lasting. That's why I tend to prefer astrological magic, because astrological magic is like deep, long-lasting transformation that lasts a lifetime. But with the demons, like you're conjuring like $500, $1,000, a toxic girlfriend, like that kind of stuff. So I definitely do not recommend it. I do have experience with it, but that is not to say that I am wholly against people who work with demons. There is a utility. There's a very deep hermetic secret, and within the Eastern practices, there is a bodhisattva would be working with demons as well. But that is for a kind of like altruistic thing where you're rescuing the demons from their chains and breaking them out of their karmas that makes them demons in the first place. So that's obviously really high level stuff and outside of the realm of Goetia and demonolatry.
Yeah, I would think of them like the police, right? Like the police can lie to you and they will pretend to be on your side to extract information and get things from you that they will then later use against you and to your detriment. So just think of it just like the 5-0, like just, no.
So, yeah, and so the thing is there is a little bit of a cross-section between Jinn and Goetia. A lot of the Goetic spirits have the same names as the Jinn in a certain branch of Islamic magic. The Muslims have Solomonic magic as well. The names deviate sometimes, but I know like Paimon is a Jinn king, and he's also, obviously very popular from the Goetia, that kind of stuff. I'd say the Jinn that Dr. Stone and I work with are astrological, they're celestial, and they're more akin to trickster spirits than they are just straight infernal entities. Definitely not necessarily to be trusted. I never tell people, like, do not make pacts with them at all. They want to make pacts, but they are trickster spirits in the truest sense of the word. They're trying to deceive you, and they don't really, when they mess with you, they don't mess with you in the same way as a Goetic spirit or a demon would. It's more of a psychological messing with you. Yeah.
Yep. And if you don't have the ability to discern it properly, you can definitely fall prey to it.
The key to working with Jinn is initiation. So they cannot deceive you if you are initiated into their powers. So,
I mean, is that yeah?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Yes,
but we specifically work with them. I specifically work with them very frequently because they teach a lot of magic. They've taught me a lot of the techniques that I have. And I don't necessarily engage with them for practical magic. I engage with them for conversation, knowledge, gnosis, that kind of stuff. And they can be these initiatory entities if you approach them with caution and understanding that they are trickster spirits.
Yep. I have not.
Protection and lesser banishing ritual and pentagram are paramount. Yes, they are. Protection, 100%. Working with the angels, and then the Jinn themselves, they have binding spirits. I would say if you are going to work with Jinn, the binding spirits are what keep the Jinn from being able to lie to you or being able to deceive you. The binding spirits are going to basically stand there on guard, and they're going to make sure that the interaction is above board, that nobody's being deceived and nobody's being messed around with. So that's the binding spirits are incredibly important when working with jinn as a form of protection. And then yes, last day banishing ritual, the pentagram. I do my own personal customized cleansing and banishing ritual, and then I invoke all the archangels and ask them to stand sentry, and that's usually pretty good. That's enough. Call on your guardian angel too. That thing is going to help you if you are interacting with them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel deeply drawn to magic, but my rational mind resists believing in it.
Oh.
How can I resolve this inner tension?
Okay. Well, let me address that. So I'm a former scientist, like literally 20 years of my life spent in a lab, neural engineer. Yeah, it's hard, and I don't think it ever really goes away, especially if you're really rooted in logic and evidence. But then there's experiences that we have where we have to, once we rule out natural reasons, right? What are we left with? And I would say my biggest, the biggest thing that I can point to is that science just doesn't understand yet. It is not anything that's out of the ordinary necessarily. It's just usually people don't experience it because they're not seeking it. And so it's just the opposite side of the coin of science, right? Where it's just something science has yet to figure out how to measure and quantify. That's it. But we're getting there. We're starting to get there. Quantum sciences, quantum field theory, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, all is starting to kind of line up very nicely with the concept of magic. So it is. I don't look at it anymore as a supernatural thing. I look at it as a natural thing that we just don't yet have the technology to measure properly.
Yeah, so I think, like, for me personally, I understand magic as dealing in the realm of consciousness, of perception, of the ground of being and the nature of being. And this is all incredibly unscientific stuff. You need science, and reason is not the tool that you use to approach that kind of stuff. I guess in ontology and philosophy, you would use reason in order to approach some kind of like basic assumptions about it. However, the point of magic, like, you don't necessarily need to reconcile it, right?
Yeah.
So if I go and I do a spell and I want a quartz crystal, I do a spell for it, and somebody's riding by on a bike, falls off their bike, and then the quartz crystal falls out of their bike and it's on my lawn, like that kind of stuff. It's like, is this coincidence? Am I just deluding myself? And does that really matter? It worked. That's all that like really matters, right? So like with magic, you should definitely, I personally just look for results. Am I getting what I set out to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Specific though, so that's a big folly I think of a lot of practitioners, is they make very vague requests, right? Mm-hmm. And then they try to force things to fit into it, like, oh, it worked because this happened, when that doesn't really help you in this case. Like, you need to be very specific and then only accept something that specifically happens that matches, right? Like, you can't just make anything be the answer. But I think you make a good point about consciousness, right? So it is a well-known fact, it's a documented fact that there is no one definition of what consciousness is. We all understand that we possess it, right? We don't know where it's located. It's not in the brain. We know that, but like part of it is in the brain, part of it, like that's the filter that lets us experience it, I guess. But it's real. We deal with it every single second of every single day. But science can't explain it properly, but yet we all know we have it, right? So it's like, you can look at it like that. It's the same. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, just because science doesn't know doesn't mean it's not real. And I hate science for that. I do. I hate that science, instead of remaining curious, just says, oh, it's not real because we don't know about it yet. I can't stand that. I think it's totally the antithesis of what science is supposed to be about. But anyways, yeah. So hopefully that helps.
Hopefully that helps.
Our
Yeah.
tangent.
So I think we're going to start our ritual. We're going to start our cleansing, our solar invocation. I'm really excited about today. You've got what you wrote, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I do. Here.
All right, awesome.
Sorry.
So we're going to go through our regular ceremony. The solar invocation is up on the dashboards, members of the Temple Kht. If you want to print that out, do it along at home in the future. That's totally fine. And then we're going to go a little bit into the message that came down for everybody. Today we're talking about the fertile death. And the fertile death basically is when we're talking about alchemy, what is the black, what is the decay? We're talking about using the things that we have gone through in the past few months together in the world as we go through the winter cycle, the initiation cycle, and the turmoil and the struggle. We've all learned together. We've been doing this together long enough to where we have learned from this experience. And so we have this fertilizer basically of the stuff that we've melted away, that we've let go of. And now that we're approaching spring equinox, we need to be preparing to plant the seeds in this fertilizer that we've created through the initiation season, through the winter season, right?
Yes.
Through our alchemical process, confronting ourselves, confronting our darkness, experiencing our darkness. And now we're going to plant the seeds and we're going to make the magic work. We're going to look at ourselves a few months down the line and we're not going to believe the people that we are and how we've changed. Right.
Yeah. It's like that Tears for Fears song, Sowing the Seeds, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we're sowing the seeds.
Sowing the
all of
seeds.
this shit.
Tears for Fears.
Yeah, I love that. I really want to see them in concert.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay. All right, we're going to start with our purification of our mind, our bodies, and our spirits. It is important that we purify our will and our intention before we approach deity, before we approach planets, before we approach the sacred. Yes. Right. Going to wash with fire. Burn with water. We're hitting every subtle energy center.
Jesus.
Yeah, that one's big.
That's
Is it going?
no. There you go.
Then we're going to use our purifying incense. We like to use myrrh over here. Frankincense is good. Palo Santo, white sage, whatever you feel drawn to. I purify my mind, my body, my spirit, and my soul under the authority of the Tetragrammaton, under the authority of Allah, under the authority of the Most On High, Creator of the universe, Master of all. Asher Hereby purify and cleanse your mind, your body, your spirit, and your soul under the authority of the universe, the authority of God, the authority of the Most on High, Master of all. We're going to light our solar incense right now before we begin descending into our group meditation, our guided hypnosis, our identification with the sun. That way we're going to be able to breathe in the incense. So we're going to start relaxing. You're going to sit with your feet planted on the floor. And for men, you're going to take your left ring finger, place it over your right nostril. And for women, you're going to do this opposite and inhale through your left nostril slowly. And then you're going to switch hands and exhale through the other nostril. And as you're doing this, going to imagine this fumigation. It's going in through the nostril. It's clearing the dross out of your prana channels. And then you're exhaling the dross, right? You're going to visualize, imagine this. And do this 3 times. Once you're finished, we're going to relax a little bit more. Feet firmly planted on the ground. Breathing in and out. In and out. And you might notice the top of your head, there's a sensation that begins to spread. It might be tingling. It might be warm. It might be relaxed. But whatever it is definitely a sensation, one that you can feel. And that sensation, it's slowly going to start spreading from the top of your head. So it's growing larger and larger. It's going down, down, down towards your ears. Notice your feet planted on the floor as you breathe deeply in and out, and that sense, that feeling of relaxation spreading down to your ears and past your eyes. And as it's spreading towards your eyes, you might notice your eyes, they start to feel heavy. They might start moving, jittering a little bit. That's okay. As it begins to descend downwards and downwards, down into your neck, down into your shoulders. So you're relaxing, falling deeper and deeper into yourself. You may notice the urge to swallow. You may want to itch a place in your body, and that's okay. That's natural. That's a part of the process. It just means that we're going deeper and that this process is working. That sensation, it's spreading down from your shoulders, down into your chest and through your arms. As your arms get heavier, your body gets heavier, more relaxed. The more relaxed you get, the slower your breathing is. It moves down, downwards, into your waist and your eyelids. They're so heavy. You may want to close them. It's perfectly fine. You can close them whenever you feel. That sensation spreading down to your hips, through your legs, your thighs, down to your knees. breathing in and out. And as the sensation spreads down towards your feet, I'm going to begin counting from 5 to 1. When I reach 1, you'll hear a snap. And when you hear that snap, you'll reach the peak of your suggestibility. Quickly and safely enter into a deep state of hypnosis. Breathing in and out, 5. Spreading down your calves, 4. Approaching your ankles, 3. Deeper and deeper, 2. On the threshold, and 1. Deep sleep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep sleep. And with your permission, when you hear me snap and say deep sleep, you will enter quickly and safely into a deep state of hypnosis. And now here in this liminal state, you might feel drowsy, but you definitely feel relaxed. You are in complete control of your mind, your body, and spirit. You might find that your thoughts slow. They're more relaxed, more focused, clearer. Your body, it feels relaxed. Any stresses, any aches or pains, it kind of melts away. You feel comfortable, you feel still and silent, deep within yourself, in a deep state of hypnosis, deep sleep. Now you feel a warmth descending on your head from above. You might be able to imagine or visualize the sigil of the sun in golden radiance descending above your head. Descending above your head. There's a circle with a dot in it. It is golden. It is radiating warmth. Now you have the ability to allow this sigil and this warmth in through the top of your head. And as you allow this in through the top of your head, that cavity inside your head is illuminated with this gold, with this radiance, and with this warmth. Your thoughts are clearer. There's no more shadows, no more forgetfulness, no more darkness. Your mind becomes crystal clear. And you feel the hot, molten gold of the sun circulating through that cavity in your head. Now we're going to allow this molten gold to circulate through our body. We're going to allow it into our bloodstream, to our prana channels, energy points. However you understand your spiritual anatomy, we're going to allow this liquid gold to flow through it. We're going to allow this liquid gold to flow directly into the bloodstream. And you can feel that liquid gold, that hot liquid gold, as it moves through your body. It burns up any pains, burns up any stresses that you may be carrying with you. And you can feel the gold. It comes out from the main arteries, goes into the veins, into the capillaries, and it starts bleeding into the skin. And your body becomes gold, radiant, illuminated. You might notice that you feel like yourself. It's the most you have ever felt like yourself. It's pure gold, illuminated, radiant, warm. And we're going to sit here. We're We're going to allow the sun to circulate through our body. I'm going to do this invocation of the sun and its powers while you sit here in this state. Whatever images may come to your mind, so we call upon the sun's names, we call upon his powers. Let those images, those thoughts arise naturally. Do not grasp at them. Let the sun speak to you. Be prepared to receive the sun, receive his gnosis, receive his healing, his strength, and his selfhood. Breathing in and out. O soul, you who are the source of riches, the increase of strength, the honor of life, the source of splendor, and the beginning of all goodness, we entrust our entire will upon you, and with it we place ourselves wholly in your hands. We entreat you on account of any depression, loss, lessening of power, or the diminishing of status. We conjure you by the Most On High, creator of the cosmos, the ground of being, that monad, Tohen, who is the mover of your motions and the giver of your power, through whom you accomplish your actions. By the obedience with which you obey that master of the universe, by the reason you have for helping and saving those who throw themselves at you in your will, those who pray to you and supplicate you with a clear and pure intention, and by the dominion and capability that the Most On High has granted you over the planets, turn yourself unto us and liberate our will. Carry it away from worry and sad contemplations. Lead us into our power, our station, and our fortifications. Grant that those who seek to cast darkness at us come to our obedience and dominion. May you deign to grant the power and strength of your splendor and excellence, by which we may find fortune and influence in working upon this material earth. We conjure you by your hidden and concealed noble qualities, by the influence you have in the order of motion, by the influence, power, strength, in the works you govern upon the generation of things in this world, by your piety, which reaches the meek, by your fortune, which reaches the great, and by your fidelity and legality, which you have towards Master of all, Creator of the universe. You who granted competence to you, and beseeching to you, by the ways and paths of the heavens, which have no parallel upon the earth, I conjure you by all your names. Yazimiz. You who are the light of the world, I conjure thee. Heed our prayers, understand our requests, those in our hearts and those in our minds. Pay attention to our words and descend into us with great effect. All those with a pure and untarnished will towards you shall have complete identification, you, O great luminary. And at this time, reach into yourself and offer up a petition, offer up a question to the great illuminator. You may notice how easy it is to communicate with him. Allow him to give you feelings. Allow him to give you images, words, perceptions. And after you have accepted him, offered up your petition, your question, you sit back and notice the feeling of communion with him. Here in this state, you know that what you have requested of him, what you have asked him, it will come to you effortlessly, flawlessly. You understand that he is within you and that you are within him. And with this understanding and with this experience, we're going to let this embed deep on our subconscious mind. This knowing, this communion, this feeling. And we're going to begin ascending back up. 1, relaxed, refreshed, rejuvenated. 2, identified with gold and the sun. 3, letting this experience embed deep within us. 4, approaching the surface. And 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake.
Okay, I seen some stuff.
Okay.
I need a pencil.
And so, yeah. Okay, hold on.
Mm-hmm. I saw a symbol, and then also I saw the ground, undulating ground.
Undulating ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So whatever, you may have petitioned the sun for, I'm going to give this offering to him. To you, O soul, thank you for your guidance, for your wisdom. Please continue to walk with us.
Something like that one.
All right. Best one I've experienced so far. I'm glad to hear that, Madison. Welcome, Waking Spirit. Interesting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I hope everybody's feeling good, feeling the energy of the sun on the Sunday. Whatever the sun gave to you or will give to you, it's for you. It is between you and the sun. And now the key to this kind of stuff, offering these petitions, is to not stress and look for an answer, to let it come to you, right? Just let it happen. Hello, Merlin. Welcome. All right. And so I think Dr. Stone has a reading for us, something that she's put together.
Yeah, I do.
Take the floor.
Okay.
Great oracle.
Shut up. Okay. Okay, guys.
You want to get in
Yeah. Okay.
the vertical view.
I'm gonna use this one then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. All right. So today I want to talk about something that most magical practitioners avoid or only mention in passing but never fully discuss. the thing that we tend to sweep under the rug once we are on the other side of it. And let me be clear, I'm not talking about times we have experienced a rough patch or fell on bad times. What I'm talking about is the real descent, the bottom, the pit, the darkness so thick you couldn't see your own hands in front of your face. That season where everything you thought you were got stripped away piece by piece until you were left with nothing but the raw, ugly, unfiltered truth of your own pain. I'm talking about the place that you don't talk about at dinner, the place you gloss over when people ask how you've been, and the place that you have spent considerable energy trying to get as far away from as possible. Well, today we're going to go back there, but not to suffer or wallow, but because there is something still down there that belongs to each of us who have traversed its dark pathways, and it is now time to go and retrieve it. So today, on the 1st of March, as spring approaches, we need to go back to the darkness of the underground, and today we will meet the queen who lives there. Her name is Ereshkigal. She comes from ancient Sumer, one of the oldest civilizations ever recorded on this earth, and she is the queen of the great below, the ruler of the underworld, the mistress of everything that has died, everything that is transforming in the dark, everything that lives beneath the surface of what we can see. Now, she's not a goddess people rush to put on their altar. She's not soft or approachable or dressed with flowers. She's primal. She's rage and grief and hunger and power all wound together into one ancient and unstoppable force. She is the goddess who tells the truth that everybody else is too polished to say. And she has been waiting patiently in the dark for us to finally come and sit with her. Let me share with you something most people don't know about this goddess. She did not choose the underworld. She was taken there, carried into the depths against her will, stolen from the world above and thrust into darkness before she even understood what was happening. The great below was not her calling. It was her wound. It was the thing that happened to her that she never asked for and could not escape. And here is where her story becomes our story. Because rather than be destroyed by the darkness, she learned it. She studied its laws. She mastered its mysteries. She sat in the grief and rage and hunger of that place until she understood every corridor, every shadow, every secret the darkness held. And she did not just survive the underworld. She became its queen. The place that was meant to break her became the place she ruled from. I need you to sit with that for a moment. The thing that was supposed to destroy you, the season you would give anything to forget, what if that is the very thing that forged your authority? What if the darkness didn't disqualify you? What if instead it was meant to crown you? In the ancient Sumerian tradition, the underworld was not simply a place of death and punishment. It was a place of transformation, a place of necessary process. Nothing that entered the great below came out the same. And that was not a tragedy. That was the point. Ereshkigal understood something that we, in our rush towards the light, our desperate hunger for the good vibes, the high frequency, instant healing, have dangerously forgotten. You cannot skip decomposition. You cannot have the garden without the rot. You cannot have the forest without the fallen leaves breaking down into the soil over the long, cold winter. You cannot have the harvest without the seed first dying into the ground, cracking open, losing its form completely, surrendering everything it was in order to become everything it was meant to be. I challenge you all to ponder the idea of that perhaps the darkness is no longer your enemy. Perhaps the darkness is your soil. And I know that that idea can be a hard pill to swallow for some of you, as it was for me, because some of you have been in that soil for a long time. Some of you came through things that should not happen to any human being. Abuse, betrayal, loss that didn't just break your heart, it broke your entire understanding of the world. Seasons of depression so deep you forgot what the surface felt like. Grief with no name and no button and no end in sight. Bottom, sorry. And the world, even well-meaning spiritual communities, told you to find the lesson faster, to forgive sooner, to vibrate higher, to get back into the light. But she says, nope, stay in the dark until the dark is done with you, because it is not finished yet. It is still making something. Every single thing you have been through, the betrayal and the losses, the nights on the floor, the identities that collapsed, the relationships that ended, the versions of yourself that had to die, none of it was wasted. It was decomposing. It was breaking down into something the earth could use. You were being composed into your own becoming. The darkness that you have been ashamed of, the rock bottom that you don't talk about in polite company, the chapter you skip when you tell your story, that is not the worst thing about you. Perhaps now it is a time to reframe that narrative and see that it is the most fertile thing about you. That is where your real power was grown. In the dark, in the rot, in the breakdown that felt like the end, but was actually, if we're going to tell the truth, the beginning of everything that matters. This ancient goddess will not provide you your comfort with pretty words. She will not hand you a candle and tell you everything happens for a reason. That is not her medicine. Her medicine is something older and more powerful than comfort. She looks at you in the full darkness, no performance, no pretense, no spiritual mask covering the real face of what you've been through. And she says, with the full weight of her ancient authority, I see what you survived. I know what it cost you. I know what it took from you. And I know, because I have watched it happen in the dark where nobody else was looking, exactly what it made you. She is the only goddess who never left the underworld, which means she is the only one who can look you in the eye and say with absolute certainty that there is life in this. There's power in this. The darkness was not killing you. It was feeding you the whole time. So today I want to leave you with a question and a declaration. The question is this: what if you stopped feeling guilty or shame or stopped apologizing for your descent, for your rock bottom? What if the rock bottom was actually the most sacred ground you've ever stood on? What if every hard, dark, devastating thing that broke you open was Eshkregal herself working in the soil of your life, growing something that could only be grown in the dark? You did not go through all of that to come back the same. You went through all of that to come back with roots so deep that nothing above ground can move you anymore. You went through all of that to come back knowing things that only can be known by someone who has been to the bottom and made it back. You went through all of that to come back exactly who you are at this very moment in time. She has been in the darkness with you the entire time, not as a witness to your destruction, but as a midwife to your becoming. The great below made you. Now is time to wear your crown. As she blessed be, and so it is.
So would it be? All right. So I think, Dr. Stone's reading, we kind of get an idea. Now, we are not in the springtime yet, but we need to be preparing for it, right? This is a time for contemplation. It is a time for reflection. The things that we have gone through the past few months. And we're going to talk about, the inner world, right? The interior world. This is what we're reflecting on, right? We're not reflecting on, Trump bombed Iran. That's not what we're reflecting on. We've all gone through that, right? But we're reflecting on like us, our soul's development, our character development in the past 6 months. Since we started the winter cycle, the dismemberment of Osiris, and the changes that we've gone through, right? And so in alchemy, there is the concept of the dross, and I use this word a lot, but basically the blackening stage, the negrito stage, is when you are decomposing the body, right? Or the material, the materia. You're decomposing it. And this is the fertile death, right? You're taking through the act of decomposition, and you decompose it under intense heat, okay, with fire. So in the Corpus Hermeticum, it tells us that fire is the principle that kind of serves as the challenge. It's like when you're firing a clay pot. That is what the fire principle is for. In alchemy and magic, it is hardening that form from this kind of like raw material. You're firing it. And then when we move over to alchemy, right, specifically alchemy, the way that this decomposition is happening is there's this separation. This is dissolve and coagulate, right? So the dissolving is under this high heat, and it's separating the thing called the dross, which is the stuff that we can't use, and from the fertile death, right? The black sand, the black earth. And that is, the Kemet in Egyptian, right? Egypt was named Kemet because of the Nile River. It had this black dirt because of the seasonal changes, the seasonal floods of the Nile left behind this black dirt. And because so, they were able to plant agriculture, and it made them a wealthy empire, right? And that's what we're talking about in this process as we get ready for spring equinox. Right now is a time to assemble your seeds, right? We're going to plant these seeds in this black dirt that we have accumulated through the process of the winter, as we are dissolving ourselves. We're separating the dross from the decayed material, right? And we need to be preparing these next few weeks, gathering our seeds and really focusing, really reflecting on what seeds we want to plant. Okay, what do we want for ourselves during this cycle? Because we are entering into a season of growth. Okay, you guys have gone through the crap now. Okay, this is the time for the season of growth. This is the time for action, and it's coming at the right time. Saturn just entered Aries. We're moving into the spring. We have all these planetary alignments. Venus is in high power, and she's going to come into even more high power when we get into the spring equinox. So that was the message that was coming down from you guys, and it came from Venus herself. She wants you guys to plant your seeds. Get ready, okay? Because there's no stopping this. The time is now. You guys are on it. You guys are on the ride, okay? And we're gonna plant these seeds in this rich soil that you guys have accumulated from going through the necrotic process, going through the negrito, going through the putrefaction, right? I like to cook. Okay, so it's like what happens, how does a sauce break? If you turn up the heat too high, then the sauce, it separates into its different components, that kind of thing. That is what we have been doing together as a group. A lot of these occult masses we've got together, and we've talked about our personal problems, or we've talked about the things that we're going through, or the chaos that's in our lives, and that kind of stuff. And we're like, okay, well, how do we approach this spiritually, as a magician, as a witch? How do we get through this, right? That time is done. Okay, we've gone through that together past 4 or 5 months. Now is getting ready to plant, and that is like a lot of the mysteries, a lot of esotericism. It comes down to these seasonal cycles. The seasonal cycles are a reflection of the cycles that we go through in our lives, that we go through in our inner world, and learning how to utilize them effectively is what makes us good at magic. So with that being said, this was what came down for you guys. We're gonna perform a little ritual. I got a sigil for you guys to use. Pretty unsure of what exactly it is. There's a lot of symbols and sigils on it. but I got it from Venus in auto writing. So if you go onto your dashboard, it's called the Sigil of Telehis, right? All I know is that you're going to be saying Telehis. You're going to use that to plant your seeds, right? It's a circle. You get in your dashboard on the College of Magicians. It's a circle. It's got a bunch of sigils in it. You're going to see the word that you're going to use. You're going to do like a little ritual for yourself before the spring equinox. What seeds are you planting? And use that circle, the sigil that I gave you, as a way to plant the seeds. So maybe you could get an object and put it inside the circle. It's like an object that represents what you want, like for the next year, right? Or maybe you can get, put a petition inside of it. But this is about growth, right? This isn't. We did our New Year's stuff. Our New Year's stuff was more about like, job, girlfriend, that kind of stuff. This is about growth. One of the things that I've got in the past year. So I started a Mercury initiation, and now I am teaching in a college. That is what I'm talking about. That is what the kind of growth we're looking for, right? Yeah. So, these are the seeds that we're planting. We're planting these spiritual seeds, growing as people.
Yeah, that's the outcome.
And so Dr. Stone has a tarot reading for the group. She's going to read that for you.
So I just asked, for those of you that are going to take that advice and do that work, for the season ahead, I asked what would be the outcome. And I got King of Wands, 2 of Coins, 4 of Wands, the Sun, and the Fool. So that's like, I guess I'm pretty sure most of you know what that means, but so the King of Wands is about a person that has made it themselves, made it not from an inheritance, not from lineage, but like built himself up to a position of authority and power over his dominion, right? And he's respectable and well received, even loved. The 2 of Coins is the juggling of things, the different responsibilities and things that one has. And so in this case, this to me represents that it would be a time of balancing both the spiritual and the mundane parts of the self in an even fashion, because then that leads to the 4 of Wands, which is the 4 pillars that hold up the home, the foundation, if you will, of a loving and productive and healthy home. And then there's the Sun, which is illuminating things. It's showing the way forward, showing the things that have been hidden from you. It's like anything that has been obscured to you previously will be finally, brought to the light. And then from there, it's the Fool, which is like a new beginning, a chance to take a leap of faith and go forward in the way that you've been guided by the Sun, right? So that's like a really great reading. So keep that in mind if you're on the fence about whether or not you want to do that difficult but necessary work. Okay.
So,
now you're gonna begin
to the astrological forecast. Let me move the. Can you move over a little bit?
Yep,
so
I sure can. Let me get my chair out of here actually for you. These chairs are so. Here. I'm sorry.
All right. So the astrological forecast. I'm gonna say nothing. Not a lot is jumped out at me, other than Wednesday night is going to be absolutely horrible. There's going to be a lot of tension in the sky on Wednesday night as the moon comes into opposition with basically everything right here. Tuesday is going to be interesting because Mars is entering into Pisces. Now, Mars in Pisces energy is very can chaotic, I guess you could say. It's intuitive and it's inward, right? So Mars turned inward is kind of can be kind of messy. Self-sacrifice is probably like one of the most positive things that you're going to get about from Mars in Pisces. But even then, it's like, why? Like, you don't have to do self-sacrifice if you don't need to, right? So I would be, as Mars is in Pisces, I would be very wary of maybe giving yourself too much to something, right? Like, maybe you don't need to sacrifice the things for yourself, because Mars in Pisces is going to inspire you to do that. You want to kind of really think about, am I doing this self-sacrifice because it's the right thing to do, or is this going to cause me problems? Is this just because I'm turning inward, right? From there, I'm going to say, okay, so tonight, though, we have the Sun is trine with Jupiter right here. Jupiter's halfway through Cancer. Monday night, we're going to see the beginning of the full moon, the Sun entering that opposition with the moon. But I want to talk about Tuesday night, because Tuesday night is the live Jinn conjuring. We are doing a lunar Jinn on Tuesday night, which is Mars night, and that is the night that Mars enters into Pisces. So this is going to be pretty appropriate time to be doing the lunar work as Mars turns inward, as he enters into Pisces. But the moon is going to be it's going to be in the 7th mansion, and the 7th mansion is going to be about like profiting, about growth. It is associated with Leo, the lion. It's a pretty positive lunar mansion. A lot of the lunar mansions kind of suck. This one is a pretty positive lunar mansion, so we're going to be working within that lunar mansion on Tuesday night. The only negative aspect you're going to see on Tuesday night is there's going to be an opposition between the moon and Mercury right here. So we're probably going to stay away from any magician-oriented stuff. Tuesday night is going to be an inward night and not an outward night. We're going to stay away from the active, creative kind of principle with Mercury, and we're going to focus more on Tuesday night. We're going to focus more on the inner world, the interior. The moon's perfect for that, right? One of the interesting things, though, as we are talking about growth and getting ready for growth, is that the night of Tuesday night, as we do our lunar Jinn conjuration together at that mansion, is associated with the growth of agriculture as well. So maybe as we go into that lunar conjuration on that night, we come with some ideas of the moon's relationship to growth, to agriculture, and the how growth is an inward process, right? So what are we going to be talking to the spirit about? What are we going to be approaching it for, asking it about? Probably want to get some information related to this process, especially as a community, as we go through the spring equinox together. So with that, that's going to be the astrological forecast. I say Wednesday night's a terrible night for magic. I would avoid any practical magic on Wednesday. But yeah, so. All
right, cool. So it's one day, huh?
Yeah.
One day of the week to avoid. Yeah. It's always Wednesdays.
Yeah, Mercury is not, Mercury's like conjunct with Venus right now, but he's not, there's a lot of other things that are stressing him out in the sky. One of the cool things, though, right now is that Venus is conjunct with Saturn at the moment. And this will be for a while because Saturn moves pretty slowly. But Venus conjunct with Saturn is really awesome for long-term relationships, right? Because it's a loyal, patient relationship with boundaries, So it might not be the most exciting dynamic romantically, but definitely a healthy one. It's a good one for marriage, right? It's a good one for respecting your partner. So that's something that I think during the next few weeks you might want to work with. Take advantage of that conjunction right there, if that applies to your life.
Good to know.
Yeah. And so with that being said, we are entering the psychic hour, my friends. Go ahead. Is that Heather?
Hi.
Is that her?
Yay.
Yay, Heather. I feel like we don't see her much anymore.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that earlier.
I know.
I hope you're well.
I'm late, Alexander. Welcome, Alexander. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat now. Yeah, so anyways, we're open for the psychic hour, guys. You guys go ahead, ask your questions. We have to get off by 2:30 because we are interviewing this Kabbalist, this online Kabbalist that I'm so excited about. He's kind of spooky, but he's real deal. I'm super excited, but we have to interview him at 3, so we're gonna have to get off at 2:30. Yeah. Only missed last week. Sorry, not to call you out like that. Heather. Where were you?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I know, Heather.
Sorry.
No, it wasn't like a bad thing. We're just like worried. I was just like, I hope she's okay. Yeah.
Running Red Witch wants a general reading for the next 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Oh, cool. Alexander.
Oh, missed you too.
Yes,
hope
we
you're good.
miss you, Heather.
Yeah, so I think she applied for the thing. She said.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so.
All right.
Yeah, he just goes in and manually does all of that. So
yeah, I'm doing that. So anybody that's applied for the initiation stuff, I have not accepted any applications for the Equinox initiation. The memberships, I've approved all of them. The website was a little broken though. I think I fixed it. But if you're still having issues, let me know and I'll fix it. But as for the initiations, your applications are there. I have not approved any of them because I have to go through an occult process after I collect a few of them in order to select. This is not it's not a bureaucracy; it's a spiritual bureaucracy. So I have to let the
yeah, and he seriously
let the
does it. So.
let the powers have to let me know who's ready.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not personal. It's just a timing with the schedule of this getting in touch with spirits.
Yeah, I have to get in touch with Isis and Osiris and that kind of stuff. I have to do a selection process.
What do
you guys usually do?
What do you mean?
So Dr. Stone is medium, oracle, tarot reader, diviner. She's absolutely amazing. I'm
Thanks.
more I'm more on the liturgical side, but I do astrology. I'm the token astrologer around here. But we have a lot of astrologers in the chat too. Some really good ones. So
yeah, so just ask your question if you have one.
Paimon the pencil pusher. Yeah, I know.
But I'm getting this right now for.
Yeah, we're doing the 3 month for you right now. Madison running Red Witch. Yeah, and so for those of you that didn't see, we have a Discord server now. A few of you guys requested it. There's only like a handful of people in there right now, but for those of you that like Discord, the community has a Discord server. I don't like moderation. I think internet mods suck. However, it is a temple. It is a Discord server for a spiritual community, so there are some light rules, but if you just don't want it, like an unmoderated server turns into a toxic server, and I like to have fun in toxic servers, but I don't think it's right for what we're trying to do. So yeah, if you want to go there, if you like Discord, the server is up on our YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yep.
Sarah wants a 3 month reading as well.
Okay. For the season.
So we have 2 3 month readings. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I feel like. That one. Mm-hmm. Okay, Two of Swords.
It's a Two of Swords
Wait,
and Eight of... Was that pentacle? Coins? Yeah, pentacles.
Yeah, hang on just a second. There's only two more. Doing 2 cards for each month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. That's the last one. One more, sorry. It's a new deck and they're different. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay.
Now we all want a 3-month ahead reading. Yeah.
Okay.
How does this reading work? Oh, you can just ask a question, and Dr. Stone will consult the cards.
Mm-hmm.
It does get interspersed with a little bit of her personal advice, but
Yeah.
that's how that's how tarot reading works, I guess, right?
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. Okay. So the next 3 months, and this is for running what Red Witch, right?
Yeah, so the first one's Madison. The second one is Sarah. Yeah.
Okay. So, for the first of the 3 months, let's clarifiers. Okay. First, so you have the Two of Swords, and then 8 of Pentacles and 2 of Pentacles. So this is, having to make a choice, pick a path, pick a way, pick between 2 things, and also putting in the work. Like, it's putting in the work. The 8 of Coins is about, being almost ready to harvest the effort that you've put forth so far. And then the 2 of Coins is, again, balancing that effort to both the psychic, spiritual self and the mundane self. That's first month. Then the next month is going to be Ace of Cups, Magician, and 4 of Wands. Oh, that's great. So Ace of Cups is, this is an emotional, personal new beginning. Kind of like anything's possible at this point. The Magician's here. You have all the tools. You've earned them over time, learned them, gained them. And then the 4 of Wands. So this is great. This is all building up to something solid and built to last coming up. And then we have the 9 of Wands, Death, and then King of Swords. Okay, so then after that you have, like always, right? When we are doing these things, spirit, when we have this path in life, we get sometimes we feel like we have roadblocks or just nothing's happening, right? And you're going to be hitting that. So it's like always after periods of intense kind of revelation and enlightenment about things, there comes a stillness and a stagnation kind of vibe, right? We all experience that. And so it's yet another cycle. So this is not over for you yet. Your journey of understanding and having these things that kind of knock you down, like, break you down in the self to discover who you actually are, is still in process. And this one is going to lead to being totally full on in authority about like who you are authentically. And then I pulled, just for good measure, 3 more cards for just to clarify the overall message. And it is Knight of Swords, the Sun, and 4 of Cups. So this is, again, this is exactly what, it's just confirming that message, that it's like the ups and downs of the spiritual path is what you can expect for the next 3 months. But don't forget that after growth comes stillness. And so what that looks like in real life is kind of like roadblocks, or, further understanding or just like stagnation. It feels like nothing's going on, nothing's happening the way or not as fast as you want it. That's normal. And so don't forget that it's all part of the cycle and the process that you're going through currently or will be going through. Okay, that's for Madison. All right, and then what's next after that? Let me see. I have to go back and look because Abammon stepped out. Okay. And then Sarah. Okay, Sarah. Get yours now. These cards are like a little bit tricky. They're like Polaroid picture size. So this is for Sarah. Sarah's 3 months. Sarah's 3 months. Sarah's 3 months for Sarah.
It is so beautiful outside.
Yes.
I wish we had an outdoor space that we could do this in.
Well, we do. We just have to.
Yeah, we have to set it up. We're gonna be out there building a creepy occult altar. Oh. My neighbors are gonna see it.
Right on the front.
Yeah, right on the front lawn.
Let's do it. 9 of Cups. Oh, star. 5 months. Okay, so month 1, Sarah. Month 1 is 9 of Cups. Great. This ooh, you got all the things that you wanted. I don't know if this has to do with, maybe get past that exam. The star is the next card. That's that's the best card you can get for a future outlook, right? It's a good omen. But then it's met here by the 5 of Wands, right? So that's conflict. That could be conflict within yourself. That could be like imposter syndrome, or it could be actual external forces trying to kind of minimize or kind of keep you in your place, right? That's month 1. See,
I feel like Sarah always gets the same reading.
Does she?
Well, the outcomes at least. The outcomes are always telling her hey, you're gonna be good.
What? I got 3 more cards again.
Yeah.
So 3 cards just came out today. The first time 3 cards came out, and now it's 3 cards again. This is Judgment. The Emperor and the Sun. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let me get the other ones. I feel like I know. I just want to double check with the next month after that to see what it says, because I think that's pretty clear. But it's what I'm getting right now. It'll depend a little bit on the other cards that come out, but so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. Oh, those 2. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the Judgment, the Emperor, and the Sun. This is needing to come to terms with the fact that maybe other people's idea about you has limited your ability to think about yourself in a certain way, right? Maybe it's it makes me think that you've been you've been held back by maybe your own ideas or other people's ideas that have been imposed on you, and you need to super get rid of that, be the Emperor, and just be in charge of your own narrative here. And the Sun will illuminate some things coming up, and then that's the next month after that, you're going to start to see why these things were happening, and you're going to see the more negative aspect of why that was happening, and because you're going to be able to see it, identify it, it'll be not a problem anymore. And that leads to 10 of Cups, which is ultimate goodness, right? Ultimate everything that you wanted. And then the Moon. There's still going to be work to do. You still have some stuff that is obscured, right? And then I need 2 more. Is that page of coins right here? Coins. Again. Yep. So I'm not sure. Okay, so it looks like again there's so you have success, and then they're met with something or someone trying to kind of like push you back to your place. I don't know why I just said that, but push you back to your place. Put you back in your place. Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Let me go back to month 2 here with the Judgment and the Emperor and the Sun. Okay. I have a different understanding of it at this point, actually. I feel like this is somebody. I feel like it's someone that has a need to keep you in a role you've been assigned for whatever reason. And like, maybe it's family. I'm not sure, but it's somebody that has an invested interest in keeping you in a certain light, keeping you in a certain position. And once you break out of that, they're going to be trying to push you back. And if they can't, I don't know why I'm saying this. If they can't do it physically, they can't make you actually stop, and then it will be more of an attack on your mental state or the narrative about you to others. Right? But then the Sun here tells me that it's going to become very clear to you why this is happening, why this is going on, what is the driving force behind it. And again, once you name it, you see it, you name it, and you understand it, then it no longer has power over you. And then that leads to like the 10 of Cups, which is great. But then there's still something that's left obscured. Okay. And then for the, like, just the overall clarification, I got, the Ace of Wands, Page of Cups, and then the and then the 7 of Wands, and then the 4 of Swords. So again, it's like, okay, the Ace of Wands is great. It's like new opportunity, a new business. It like seems like new business, or, you know, school, business, job. I don't know, like more career or like external material kind of focus. And then the Page of Cups is being very, you know, like having a lighthearted, like excitement about it. And then but yet again, then some other, you know, someone's gonna again try to kind of make you feel less than about that. And so rest will be required, you know, like keeping yourself grounded is really important. So that's your 3 months. I hope that makes sense and helps some way. Okay.
Okay, Merlin, I've got your cards. What does the world need, and what can we do?
Oh,
everything is inverted. Why is everything inverted?
The last day of work at current job.
Current job is just after the spring equinox. Yeah.
Interesting.
What does the world need?
This deck.
All right, Merlin. To your question, what does the world need? This is. You want to look at this? Everything came up reversed.
Are you sure the deck's not reversed?
I don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like structure. Like,
well,
I don't put them all right side up or anything.
Are those for?
Past, present, future, in the way.
Past, present, future.
In the way, outcome.
Okay.
And then overall theme.
This is for what does the
inverted again.
What?
Princess of Wands, Earth of Fire. This is the totality, right? So the way that I'm interpreting this, every single card is reversed. So it starts with the Priestess, goes into the Queen of Swords, goes into the Sun. What is standing in the way of everything is the Four of Discs, which is inverted power.
Money.
Yeah, which
Fucking people trying to cling on to
that
their
is
shit.
what is standing in the way of what the world needs.
Oh,
The outcome is going to be the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords, right side up, is kind of like futility. But if we're going to invert it, right, so it's the 7, right? So the 7 is the fates. It's the governors, that kind of thing. It is inverted, though, so releasing the fates. It is lunar. It is in Aquarius. This is an internal process. So what I'm seeing right here is the first thing that jumped to my mind. Let's get the pendulum out for this too. The first thing that came to my mind was that everything needs to be inverted. What can we do? We need to invert everything, right? So the priestess in an inverted position, specifically the high priestess, that is the mirror. Right. And so we have to understand that the spiritual world is we are a mirror of the spiritual world, and the spiritual world is a mirror of us. So right now, this spread right here is talking about the inversion in the heavens, or that we are an inversion of the heavens. And the priestess especially is that principle. The priestess is communicating this mirror principle, right? It's going into the Queen of Swords, which is water of air, right? That's emotions before intellect, right? Emotions before intellect. So if we're going to reverse it, we need to reason before emotion. The inversion of the sun, which is the self, right? It is the ego. So the inversion of the self and the ego is going to be the relinquishing of the ego. What is standing in the way is the inversion of the Four of Discs, right? And so those are the 4 elements. That is the material world. So the inversion of the material world, right? So a 4 of Discs, when it's right side up, that is power. That is personal power. That is power over the material world. Look at the pendulums going crazy right now. That is power over the material world. So what we can specifically do is we are inverting that, the attachment to the material, and then it culminates in the inversion of the futility, the inversion of the fates, right? And this is all culminating into the Princess of Wands, which is Earth of Fire, right? And we're talking about just absolutely raising everything, burning everything to the ground.
Yep.
So, I mean, really, the message here is clear. As a relinquishing of the self, as a relinquishing of the material, is understanding that we need to invert everything that is a part of the material existence, and that is the alignment. That is how we escape the futility, right? Oh my gosh, I am trapped. There are a bunch of billionaires that are wreaking havoc on the world, and they're evil people, and there's a crazy president that's collapsing countries, and there's like all this stuff, this is all the material. This is all worldly, right? And so what can you do for the world is you need to invert this in yourself, right? The sun specifically here is the relinquishing of the ego, right? The relinquishing of the self, when it's in this inverted position. And it's pretty interesting too, because the sun card is the Resh, right? And the Resh, Dalit is usually the door, but the Resh looks like Dalit, right? And it looks kind of like an archway or a doorway. So the relinquishing of the self right there is walking through this door. Yeah, I mean, this is all an inverted mirror. It's like opposite day. That's what this reading is.
Wow.
Yes, we are doing spreads. What's that, Hootless? The lovers.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Heather.
So hopefully that answers some question. The pendulum seemed to like what I was saying, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And for Heather.
Can you do a reading for me? Who am I walking with at this time? Guides, goddesses. What am I supposed to be focusing on? My spiritual path with them.
Well, what does it feel like? So, yeah, that's like the fact that you're asking that question makes me think that you already have an idea of what it is, and that's the right answer. So it's always the thing that you know, just offhand, right? Like you just know it, and you're looking for confirmation of it. Like, yes, what you think it is what it is. It's meant for you. Yes. You know, yes, it's stop second guessing yourself.
Yeah, self-doubt severs the connection.
Yep. Yeah. Let me get to Heather's because I pulled it. Labyrinth is Heather, right?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay, so for this next month or March, you have the Queen of Swords, Six of Pentacles, and the Fool. So this is Queen of Swords is, just, I don't know, you got to be real about everything, right? Cut through bullshit, cut through all of the fluff, and just know what you need to do or what the reality of the situation is. And then there's the Six of Coins, or Pentacles, which is about, charity or giving back. So it's either on the receiving end or on the giving end. And that can be anything from time to actual resources other than your time. The Fool is taking that leap forward and just going with it. Trusting that you know best, that that everything will be as it should be, right? And then April, we have the Five of Swords. So this is fighting, internal fighting, right? Knight of Pentacles, slow. Ten of Wands. Okay. So April looks like it's going to be really like a frustrating month. I'm sorry to say, but it does. You've got the Five of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. So Five of Swords is like an internal conflict, or it can be actually someone trying to, that's Seven of Swords. Five of Swords is like an internal situation. Knight of Coins is slow. So like things aren't, again, it's like this impatience. I feel like so far everyone in April has like impatience. And I get it, but like things are moving slowly for a reason. And the Ten of Wands is here. So it doesn't matter. You can't get there faster. You have to just wait. Okay. And you need to wait, because then we have the Tower. Sorry. I love that card. I love it because it means that things are broken apart, that were meant to be broken apart, that were just hanging on by a thread to begin with and needed to be torn back down to the foundation to be rebuilt better. And then you have the King of Wands, which is what I said. It's the building the self back up, building the self from scratch, like not because of any privilege, because you can. And then the Eight of Wands is like fast. And then as soon as that happens, it's like fat stuff happens quickly going forward. So things are going to be at towards the end of that month. This is May. You're going to be like going for something's quickly. And then the overall message of this is the Four of Wands, the Emperor, and the Lovers. Like, this is great. So the frustration and stuff that you're going to feel in the first part is totally going to be worth what comes up next, because it's going to result in the stable foundation that's necessary, the authority to be present in the moment and claim what you're supposed to, and then the Lovers, which is, that fire, that love of passion for what is going on in your life at the time. So that makes sense.
All right. I think I had a question from Running Red Witch. Sorry if this is random, but do you have advice on how to make a talisman that acts kind of like a silencing circle? I want to make one where my words are heard by the intended and no one else. This is pretty interesting. So I like this question. I'm wondering what you mean by heard by no one. If you're talking about like physically, if you're talking about like an invisibility talisman, or if you're talking about like coding a message that like people the wrong people misinterpret your message if the right people understand it. When you're talking about silence, that is Saturnian. Iron is also, and so that's going to be lead. So lead talismans, Saturn talismans. I think you use obsidian with Saturn too, is going to help you with silence. However, getting that message, I think like you're going to be talking about Mercury with that, right? So if you wanted to wombo combo a kind of talisman and align Mercury and Saturn together to where there was a communication that was also working with a reverent silence, that might have the effects. I know invisibility talismans are also going to work within the sphere of Saturn too. So if we're talking about like something that's like, you're trying to have like an invisibility talisman kind of effect on your message, that would still fall into the realm of Saturn. It's very interesting though. Your question, I'm not familiar with any talismans on the record that do that specifically, but if we're talking about creatively, those are the energies that you want to work with. But iron itself, that is also a really good one. Dr. Stone, does your freezer spell use iron?
No.
So Dr. Stone has a Dr. Stone has a freezer spell that is pretty effective at getting people to shut the hell up, and that's on the YouTube channel if you want to go check that out.
Yeah, real easy.
So you could like maybe want to incorporate some of that, but iron alchemically though is something that grounds and it brings everything down. So if there's anything that's like extra that's happening, like people are talking or people are doing stuff around you, you could also make an iron talisman, and that's going to nullify everything.
Yeah. Okay, Bootless, what's your question?
Yeah, Bootless. Okay, and then Heather says, okay, this keeps coming up even before you, Isis keeps coming up even before you post about the initiation. Yeah, that's, I understand why you're apprehensive now. Isis is very intimidating. She's a very loving and forgiving goddess, but I remember before I approached her, I was extremely apprehensive about it because she's incredibly intimidating. She's scary in a different way than the other goddesses, right? Whereas the other goddesses are more scary because they're related with like chaos or the chthonic or whatever that kind of stuff is. Isis has this like intimidation that's cosmic. It's like Lovecraftian almost. It's like, I was very apprehensive when I first approached Isis, so I kind of understand what you're going through now. It's like you think you're working with Isis, but you're like kind of scared to take the plunge. I went through that too. But when she calls you, she pushes you forward. You know, you just have to keep. There's an anxiety built in with her, and you just got to keep following the next indicated step. But she's very loving, very forgiving goddess.
There's something very like regal about it, right? Like it's like intimidating because it's like
because she's so the Egyptian deities themselves have this very grandiose, magical vibe to them that the other pantheons don't, right? And so they can be incredibly intimidating because of that.
Okay, thanks for clarifying, Bootless. I'm gonna get it right now. It's okay. You don't have to be sorry. You're fine. I didn't know if you wanted a 3-month reading like I was just doing for everybody else, or if we can do that, or we can just do the week.
That's okay, Bootless. Welcome.
Yeah.
We do this every Sunday, but we do something called the Psychic Hour, where it's just open up, ask your questions, and we can use occult methods between the two of us to try to answer them.
Well, Heather, mine was the opposite. Mine was Isis first, and then Hecate, right? So they're totally, it works. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they work. They participate in The Golden Ass by Apuleius, which is a first century novel that the novelist was detailing his experience initiating into the mysteries of Isis. He claims in that novel that the priests of the mystery traditions, at least in the first century, were associating Hecate and Isis together, saying that they are one and the same.
Yep.
Now, I think approaching them through experience, there are deviations in who they are. I don't think it's fair to just say they're the same goddess, but they're very, very similar. work in the same realms. I think Hecate's definitely got that kind of like more earthy, chthonic vibe to her, and Isis is this kind of like it's like such a hard thing to explain.
Yeah, but if you know Hecate's original iterations, right, which was of the sea and the water.
So
right?
They started in the same place too. So Isis was watched over the sailors of Egypt. Hecate watched over the sailors of Asia Minor.
Yep.
Like they're both mother goddesses, that kind of thing. So
exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah. So don't worry about it. It's a natural progression, I think. I'm doing a 3-month one for you because that's what I had started. Sorry. So I just need to get 3 more cards here for Bootless. Those cards coming up a freaking ton in this. Every single reading has had that card. What the heck? That's crazy. That's not normal. She's what she saying? She
said sky, sea, and land.
Yep. Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We got about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry, I just dropped the cards. Okay, so month number 1 for Bootless is Ace of Swords. Okay, 9 of Cups and the Chariot. Oh, that's all great. Okay, so Ace of Swords is, going forward, making a decision, like having to make a decision and being behind it, being about it. 9 of Cups, that decision is going to lead to something very good, a good outcome, very good outcome. And then the Chariot, and things are going to be going at a pretty fast pace. For April, it's the Queen of Cups, which is great, and Temperance and Justice. Okay, so Queen of Cups is okay. This is like, getting a hold on emotion, getting yourself into, I would say it has to do with mastering emotions and like not letting them overtake you, because Temperance is here too. So it's like also patience. April is everybody's impatient. And then Justice, like, so, what's supposed to happen is going to happen. Be patient. Okay. Be patient about it. Things happen on their own time for a reason. And then for May, King of Pentacles, 2 of Wands, and the Hierophant. Oh, wow.
Yes, it is Bootless.
Yeah, this is yours, sorry. King of Pentacles, 2 of Wands, and the Hierophant. I mean, that does not look like, what is that? What is this? This looks like
but two of Wands?
2 of Wands and the Hierophant, like.
Yeah, so I mean, the King of Pentacles is like kingdom. Yep. Hierophant is priest king.
Yeah.
2 of Wands is
partnership. All right.
Well, I think like 2 of Wands more measured action, right? So this is like all like I'm on my throne and under the will of God, and I'm able to
doing things properly by the book, right? Because that's the Hierophant. It's all about tradition and doing things by the doctrines, right? Like by taking things sacredly, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sacred work. 4 of Wands, 4 of Pentacles, and Page of Wands. So, look out. And this is this is the overall message, right? The overall message is that, you're building something here that's going to stay. Like you're building a sturdy foundation. I would be, cautious about being so concerned with things going the way you want them to necessarily, like, trying to control things, like, and have a tight grip on how things play out, because that will be limiting for you. But if you can manage that and keep that under control, then the Page of Wands is here, which is about having an excited, like a very optimistic outlook for the months ahead from then, right? So that looks really good. Let's see what these ones were. These are on the ground. These fell. The full, yeah, 6 of coins and the Fool, right? So, yeah, it's about the give and take, like, giving back where you've been blessed, or being able to take when you need from those that have been blessed, and then trusting the process and taking that, leap of faith and going forward in what in your heart to be true. So what you're supposed to be focused on right now is figuring this out, right? That's what you're doing. You're trying to figure out what this stuff is all meaning for you, and you will, but be careful about trying to micromanage the timing of it and the release of the disclosures, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty positive. It's positive, but there are some issues with control there. Just be mindful.
All right.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Bye, Heather. Thank you for joining us. It was nice to see you.
Yep.
We have to get ready for our interview with this guy. Thank you guys for joining us for another wonderful Sunday service.
Yep.
Remember, the Temple Kht members, on your dashboard, you're going to have the sigil that you're going to use to plant your seeds, right? Just put together a quick little ritual, plant your seeds that are going to grow through the spring using that sigil. If you're running into any issues, any bugs on any of the websites, please let me know. You can let me know on the YouTube. Check out the Discord server. Link to that is on the YouTube. And keep an eye out for the Theological Seminary lecture videos, which are available to members of the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Those are just a sneak peek at what's going on behind the scenes with the seminary. We're hoping to have the seminary fully functioning, operational, ready to accept students into the student portal by the fall. So if you want to join the Discord server and ask that question, we do have to go because we have an interview with somebody in 30 minutes and we got to prep for that. But if you want to join the Discord server and ask that question, then we can get back to you on it. That would be great. And also the temple is free. The membership is free. You just have to go check it out. Yeah, it's just a way to organize. So we're going to do the so you have to do the indoctrination ritual, and then we're going to do, for the people that completed the indoctrination ritual on the 19th, the day before the spring equinox on the new moon, we are going to do a swearing in ceremony for people that have finished the indoctrination ritual, and those people will get mailed out the Temple Kht talismans and their membership cards for the temple. And basically, Church of Satan does it. It's like, why don't we have membership cards too? You have a cool thing to put in your wallet. I see your question. Who is this? Nate Pseudo?
Yeah.
Is that what it says? Okay. I'm curious about your feelings on the Unicode symbols. I'm just going to say right now, you can assign any meanings you have. I would use scrying in order to do that. But at the same time, one of the things that I do, you can use a Semitic alphabet and transliterate to a Semitic alphabet, right? So try to transliterate the Unicode symbols to either Ugaritic might work actually pretty well. That would be an intense project because there's like 2,000 letters. But Ugaritic, Hebrew, Arabic, a Semitic language. You could use Greek, Ipopsophy. But if you can assign Unicode correlations to that, then you would be able to use Unicode magically in a grimoire. So, all right, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you soon, and please join us on Tuesday for the Jinn conjuration. Think about that. Jinn is going to deal with agriculture growth. He's Leo, so
my people.
And he's a pretty nice guy. So just. If you're going to come to the conjuration live stream or whatever, just come with like a question pertaining to that. We are not doing any packs, so do not come with a wish for a Jinn, please. So okay.
Yeah, it's not like
all right.
that. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
See you guys next week, guys. Thanks for being here and joining us.